Hello and welcome to another Bearded Geek toy review. In today's episode we're looking at another Star Wars retro collection figure set, this time based on the prequels Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're looking at yet another Star Wars retro collection, this time themed on the other two prequel movies. The one that we did a couple of weeks ago, which was based on brand new figures from A New Hope that Kenner had never done, bar the Walrus Man figure, which was part of the second wave of the original figures back in 1978. We got full 6 figures for the Phantom Menace in the retro style back in 2024, which was done for the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace. And then obviously we have the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith this year. Attack of the Clones seems to have been a little bit forgotten, if I'm honest, in the terms of anniversary kind of releases and figures. But yeah, a very, very peculiar decision. Obviously, Hasbro in the Kenner style are still releasing figures. This came out obviously before the one that we've reviewed a couple of weeks ago based on the original Star Wars movie, and as I said, this is kind of based on the other two prequel movies. But rather than doing 6 figures from Attack of the Clones and 6 figures from Revenge of the Sith, they've decided to split the set and just do 3 figures from each. And I'm really, really confused as to why they did that. Because let's face it, there's enough characters in both of those movies. And I really did like the Phantom Menace retro style figures. I thought it was a great wave of 6 figures. You could have easily done some more figures for Attack of the Clones. You could have easily filled it out for 6 figures for Revenge of the Sith. I really don't understand the kind of mentality that Hasbro have done here by kind of merging the 2 prequel movies together. This was originally a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. It's still available on the website. I think it's $61.99 if you're in the UK or Europe. And I think it's roughly around about the same price in US dollars if you're that side of the water. It hasn't sold. And it hasn't sold to the point where I didn't pick this up because I didn't like the fact that they'd split the movies and only done 3 of figures from that movie and 3 figures from that movie. So I was kind of well, I'll get it eventually. But luckily, Star Action Figures and other internet retailers have been offered stock by Hasbro, because I presume the Kenner Hasbro have overproduced. And because of them splitting the movies in 2 for this set, I think that's one of the reasons why this hasn't sold as well as the Phantom Menace one did. And hopefully it teaches Hasbro a lesson. So Star Action Figures actually said, hey, you know that Hasbro Pulse exclusive that they always keep going on about? You know, it should be 62 quid. We've got it for £35, and at that price, this is a bloody steal, which is why I ordered it. So, absolutely. So, for that price, I'm not going to turn it down, because it is effectively half price. It means that, you're paying a lot less for all the figures, but again, I don't like the fact that we've only got 3 from one movie and 3 from the other, when it should have been 2 separate waves. It should have been 6 from each of those prequel movies. Anyway, that's enough about me ranting. Standard packaging. Obviously, you've got the front and the back show exactly the same. You've got Star Wars Attack of the Clones logo on that side, and you've got Star Wars Revenge of the Sith logo on there. And then at the top, you've got some photographic representation of the characters who are included. And before the bottom, yeah, you've got all the legal stuff.
Master Windu, how pleasant of you to join us.
This party's over.
So let's tackle the figures in like each individual mini wave, if that's what we're going to be calling it. So first of all, obviously we'll go episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and we have this one here, which is Padme Amidala in the kind of like distinctive white jumpsuit that she wore for the latter half of Attack of the Clones, once they kind of like visited Tatooine, and then as they go to Geonosis and are involved in the final big battle of Geonosis, which starts the Clone Wars. Again, we have thicker car back, which is very, very good. Hasbro are listening to us. Now, I'm not too sure whether these stickers are the easy peelable ones that we got on the last New Hope series. I don't know. I'm not getting a very good vibe from that, so I think we might have to do the old lighter fluid and very, very slow removal on those, because as you know, as I've mentioned many a time, I hate these bloody retro stickers. They're ridiculous and they cover up most of the decent card backs. It's a good retro representation of Padme. You've got some use of soft goods there. She comes with that little like silver kind of like blaster that she had. I would have probably put her with a clone trooper rifle, which I think she uses in the battle. Not clone trooper rifle, it's a battle droid rifle that she picks up in the Battle of Geonosis and then uses for the rest of the movie. I would have put that in there instead. But yeah, it's a nice little representation. Again, let down on the back. It's all the crap legalese. So yeah, you're not very exciting on the back there. But yeah, that's Padme for you. A nice representation of that character in the retro style. Next up, we've got Jedi Master Mace Windu. Sam Jackson's really cool character, the Jedi Master. And yeah, that's a very, very cool representation of his character. Again, nice use of soft goods and the retro purple style lightsaber that obviously the original Kenner figures had from the Empire Strikes Back onwards. Obviously the New Hope ones had the telescopic lightsabers in the arms, but then after that the Bespin Luke Skywalker came with his yellow lightsaber in that kind of style, and that's how they were done ever since. So again, a really nice card back, nice and thick, not a lot on the back, but you can get a good representation of what this figure would have looked like had this movie come out in the like mid-80s and Kenner had continued to release Star Wars toys. So this is kind of like, obviously it's always a what if line, putting them in this retro style. And I know I said I'm not going to really collect the ones based on the Disney series and stuff that they seem to be intent on, but I think Hasbro finally listened, and I think we're probably just going to get like gaps in the original 97 collection now. Unless they surprise us with something completely different. They'll probably do one for the Mandalorian Grogu movie that's coming out next year. But yeah, again, big shame that the sticker is there. And just looking at that, they have stupidly done exactly what they did in one of the sets for A New Hope. They've put the sticker on first and then put the bubble over it. So that means that sticker is going to be very, very difficult to remove. And when you do remove it, you're still going to get part of the sticker stuck there. So, crying out loud, Hasbro. You know, you do one thing and then you do a next. And it's just like... So, yeah, it's going to be pointless removing that bloody sticker on there. Absolutely pointless. But there you go, that's Mace Windu. Good figure. Again, let down by shoddy packaging. And finally, for the representation of episode 2, we have this very, very, very cool retro representation of Jango Fett. I bloody love this. God, how cool does that look? He comes with both pistols. He's even got a jetpack, as you can see there, very much in that retro Boba Fett style. In fact, I think it looks virtually the same. They've probably used some kind of like the same moulding there. Great card back. Again, stupidly kind of like covering up the image, and I thought then that it was going to be under there, but it looks like it isn't. So it looks like that one could be removable. But I really do love that retro representation of Jango Fett. I love the Jango Fett design out of like obviously the Mandalorians. I think it's my favourite design. I just love the silver, the blue, and is it purple? Is it blue? The jumpsuit that he wears, where he puts the armour on. There's conflicting kind of things where some people say it's purple, some people say it's a certain shade of blue. But in this thing, it looks like it's a very like kind of like a purple. But yeah, I just love that representation there. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I'm loving that. Again, nothing of interest on the back. But yeah, that's probably going to be my favourite figure from this mini wave showing Attack of the Clones. So there you have it for that little mini wave. Now, obviously, you're going to ask the question, well, what figures would you have included, Jason, if you were in charge of this range? Well, certainly, I would have put a Count Dooku in there for a start. Absolutely, I would have had a Count Dooku. I would have had a Attack of the Clones style Clone Trooper. And given the fact that we have such a particular kind of epic battle at the end, I would have put a prequel version of Yoda in there as well. So those are my 3 choices that I would have had should had this wave been actual 6 figures instead of 3 figures. So there you go. That's my choices. I would have done Count Dooku, a Clone Trooper Mark 1, and Yoda for the other 3 figures in the Attack of the Clones wave. And speaking of Clone Troopers, here is the very first figure from the mini wave of Revenge of the Sith, and it is a Clone Trooper. Now, obviously, there are some differences to the armour. Obviously, the helmet was slightly different and more an amalgamation of between like a Mandalorian helmet and a Stormtrooper helmet. And obviously, the armour was more distinctively like a Stormtrooper's armour as well. So, like kind of like bridging that gap between the prequels and the original trilogy. But I still would have had a Clone Trooper in the Attack of the Clones wave. So again, we've got that kind of like computer image generated card inlay there of the Clone Trooper. Again, you can't see all the details because the bloody sticker's in the freaking way. But there is the actual figure itself. I think that's a cool retro representation of the Clone Trooper, and the obviously gun is a lot more detailed than obviously how the guns used to be back in the day. I would have probably just put a more standard retro Stormtrooper weapon in there because that's what Kenner would have done back in the day. Absolutely, they wouldn't have molded a brand new weapon at all. They would have just included the original Stormtrooper weapon there. So there you go, there's the Clone Trooper. Very distinctively white, very distinctive. but still in that retro styling. Again, on the back, absolute bugger all. And the sticker is thankfully not covered over by the bubble, so you can remove the sticker if you choose to. Again, this is completely random. You might get a set of figures if you were to buy this set that did have the retro sticker a bit more that way and stuck under the bubble. So it's then up to yourself whether or not you want to actually prise that bubble away and then kind of like damage the card back, etc. But this is kind of like the issue that we've got when Hasbro a bit stupid in the production of these card backs. But yeah, there's the Clone Trooper, a very cool figure there. And next we have, well, certainly the villain from the early part of the movie. We have General Grievous here. And yeah, I'm loving that card back. The weathering on this particular card seems to be a lot more prominent than the other cards. So I don't know, they've gone a bit overboard, I think, on this one. Again, absolutely nothing on the back there. Sticker you can take off to reveal more of the actual image, but the actual figure itself is very, very cool, and he does come with 4 lightsabers. You can see there he's got 2 green and 2 blue, and he does have the arms that like separate, so you could have him in that pose where he is standing there holding all 4 lightsabers. You know, it's at times like this I wish I had a bottomless pit of money, because obviously I'd buy 1 wave to keep on card and then 1 wave to open up. But there you go. I'm absolutely loving that. I'm loving the detail on the figure. It's enough that it's still got that retro styling to it. I'm loving the paintwork on the eyes as well. You can really see, if you look a little bit closer there, you can really see the detail there on the eyes. I don't think that would have been painted as much had this figure come out like in the kind of like the 80s. I don't think action figure technology was that good to print eyes on like that. But hey, this is just a like we say, a what if line. But yeah, loving the detail of the General Grievous figure there. Whether or not he stood up with those clunky feet is a completely another issue. But yeah, 4 lightsabers and a very, very good representation of the General of the Droid Army. And finally, we come to the last figure in this mini wave for Revenge of the Sith, and it is Anakin Skywalker, or Darth Vader, I presume, if you want to call him that. Again, that really, really cool image, which they had on they've had on the card backs ever since they've done like vintage collection, kind of like versions of Anakin Skywalker. They've always used that kind of like really cool image of him, like on top of one of the droids on the lava river, Mustafar, kind of like with his lightsaber there ignited, having the discussion with Obi-Wan. I bloody love Revenge of the Sith, and I absolutely love that final duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin. It's quite heartbreaking. It still gets me to this day. The figure is a very cool retro representation of Anakin Skywalker. And you have the blue lightsaber there. It would have been a nice touch if they'd probably included a red one, you know, because that's the kind of thing Kenner would have done in the day. They wouldn't have given him a blue one. They would have given him a red one, because, yeah, let's face it, you know, they gave Luke Skywalker a yellow lightsaber originally. They gave Obi-Wan Kenobi a blue one. And his packaging had a yellow lightsaber. They originally packaged Luke with a blue lightsaber for Return of the Jedi, then changed it to green. So I think it would have been nice if they'd actually made that lightsaber a red one. It would have been kind of like continuing that inaccurate colours of lightsaber for figures that Kenner used to do for the original range. Again, absolutely bugger all on the back. But yeah, thankfully, yeah, the bubble's not over that retro sticker, so I can peel that off a later date. using lighter fluid and cotton wool to just generally peel it off so it doesn't leave any damage to the card back underneath it. And a very, very cool I'll get my words in. A very, very cool representation from a retro figure point of view. So there we have it, the mini wave of Revenge of the Sith retro collection figures. Again, should have been 6 figures, but we just get 3. Now, you're going to ask me again, well, Jason, what would you have included? Well, obviously, the glaring omission from this wave is Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you weren't going to do him for Attack of the Clones, with his mullet, with his Jesus mullet, you're doing an Anakin Skywalker figure for Revenge of the Sith. Where's Obi-Wan to duel with Anakin? So obviously you're going to do Obi-Wan Kenobi. So that's one figure that is stupidly missing. Another figure. Well, who's the main architect of everything? Who is discovered in halfway through the movie and reveals himself to Anakin to help turn him to the dark side? Of course, it's Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious. We would have loved a prequel version of that figure in the retro styling. So again, you're missing a Darth Sidious figure. That could have been the 5th figure in this wave. And then obviously for the 6th figure, I don't know. I probably, given the distinctive characters that you've got, if you were doing a Yoda for Attack of the Clones, then obviously you're not going to do a Yoda for Revenge of the Sith to have him battle Darth Sidious. I would have probably gone a little bit left field, and I would have done a retro version of Bail Organa, because he does have a pivotal role in the movie. And obviously we got a Mon Mothma retro style figure for the Return of the Jedi second wave of retro style figures, which I have on pre-order. I still have on pre-order with Star Action Figures. And they did actually email me the other day and said, oh, we've got some early stock in, because I know those figures were available in America over a year ago, but they've been very slow to come over here in the UK. And they said, would you like the first batch? Because you were one of the first people to order it. And it's like, I know I've got a lot of stuff coming in October. We've got the DC Multiverse, Batman Returns figures coming. So obviously, I knew that a lot of money might have been coming out my account in October. So I actually said, do you mind? Because they sent me a nice email saying, if you don't want the sets yet, we'll send it out when we get the second batch of stock in come late December, early January. And I said, yeah, can I have it in January, please? Because that's all that makes it a lot fiscally responsible and easier. So we do have the second Return of the Jedi retro wave on its way to Oso review. But yeah, going back to this, again, I would have thrown in a Bail Organa. He's a very cool character. He's very pivotal to the role of Revenge of the Sith. And also he plays a very pivotal role in Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And then, although they recast him, he did play a pivotal part in the second series of Andor as well. And he's in Rogue One as well. So there you go. So that's the missing 3 figures that I would have done for the Revenge of the Sith retro collection wave, had they done a proper 6-figure wave. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. We got half and half, and there are some glaring omissions in my point of view. So at the end of the day, yes, it is great to have these characters in the retro collection. It's great to have them in that retro style. But I do think Hasbro made a mistake by splitting this particular wave. I think we should have had 6 figures from each of the remaining prequel movies, because otherwise you might have all just done a prequel box and done 2 figures from each movie. But, how come Phantom Menace warrants 6 figures, but neither Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith warrants the same treatment, or the same treatment as all the other things? I mean, for Christ's sake, they did retro figures. They did a 6-figure wave for the Acolyte, and that was the biggest pile of tosh ever. And, they've done it for Ahsoka, they've done it for The Mandalorian, they've done it for the Book of Boba Fett. I think the only thing we haven't got is retro collection figures for Solo and Rogue One. God, don't give them ideas, Hasbro. So a big mistake that they split the wave, but yeah, I still think the 6 figures that we got are really great, but you could have really gone to town and included some of those other figures, those other characters, and represented them in the retro collection as well. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get a second box, which again will reverse what I've said, and then have another 3 characters from Attack of the Clones and another 3 characters from Revenge of the Sith. But from the gist of it and from what Hasbro have said, it does look as if they're now going to be concentrating on just filling in those gaps or doing reproductions of the original 97 figures that were made by Kenner back in 78 to 85, which I don't have a problem with, because it's nice to have them in that representation, and it's also nice to fill in some gaps of characters that we didn't get. But this is a glaring omission, and that's the only negative that I've got from this. And again, sometimes Hasbro get it really right, sometimes they get it absolutely wrong. And in this case, it is literally a case of half and half. Yeah, you really dropped the ball on this. You got it wrong. You should have given a full wave of that and a full wave of that. But for 34 quid, I'm not going to complain that much, even though I have. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, then please leave us a like. It really does help out the channel. And if you've not yet hit that subscribe button to subscribe to the channel, then please do so. Really do appreciate your support. And hit that notification bell to be notified whenever we upload any brand new videos. Speaking of which, we've still got some NECA horror to come, some DC Multiverse, some Marvel Legends, and lots more cool stuff. So stay tuned, take care, stay safe, and we will see you very, very soon on Bearded Geek Toy Reviews. Bye now. Kenobi.